I'm 10, your host, obviously.
Alright, boys, my turn. Ted, do you have a jack? Okay. Last card. Got what I wanted. Alright. Ted, do you have a 2? I'll take that. Thank you. Frederick, do you have a 6? Thank you. And I guess, Zed, you have a 3. Thank you. Well, guys, I think I won. You know, Go Fish, it's a very easy game. I want a different card game. A fun, interactive card game for all 4 of us to play. You know, I want it to be funny. I want it to be interesting. And I want it to be not quite a Munchkin game, but a Munchkin game at the same time. Thankfully, there is a game just like that. Munchkin Loot Letter. From the same makers as Munchkin, Steve Jackson game. This game is not quite the same as the large Munchkin games. The card games. I actually do have those. I might do a review on those a little bit later, if I have the time and the space for all the cards I have. This version of the game is a bit tamer. It takes a lot less time. And you don't need, well, as much space to play this. The game consists of 16 cards, all ranked from between the numbers 1 through 8. I'll go through each and every card individually. 13 little cubes, score counters, 4 double-sided cards, both the list of cards and sequence of play, the rule book, which states all the rules and different aspects about each card, and they're carried in this really hunky-dory bag, which can double as a dice bag if you really want it to, because why not? We always need more dice bags. The game is relatively simple. Shuffle the deck. In a 4-player game, you remove the top card and put it away to the side. Sorry, in a 3... Wait. Sorry about that. I actually had to reread the rules for a second there. Oh, that's only for a 2-player card game. Okay, so a 3-player and a 4-player game, you remove the top card. If it's a 2-player game, take the next 3 off as well. But I have 3 friends here, so we're only going to do the 4-player game. Remove the first one. Each player gets a card. As you can see, you put the central one here. 1 round of this game basically is until the deck itself is completely done. Last card drawn is the end of the round. So basically you look at your deck, your card. This one, by the way, happens to be the potted plant. There are 5 of them. They actually have every single one here of how many? 5 potted plants, 2 mall rats, 2 ducks of dooms, 2 wishing rings, 2 net trolls, 1 dread gazebo, 1 turbonium dragon, and 1 loot. Anyways, we don't get to see what this card is. It's discarded from the game. Basically, it's similar to Flux in that you draw a card, play a card, except for Flux the rules are constantly changing. This one, it doesn't. So you draw a second card, and you play one. In this case, I have 2 potted plants. Chances are you're going to get a potted plant. Again, 5 potted plants. This one says, name a non-potted plant card and choose another player. If that player has that card, he or she is out of the round. So basically, the object of the game is to either get everyone else of the round out and be the last person in the round, or to be the one with the highest value card in your hand. There is a case that there might be a tie, say both of them have a net troll or something, and if that's the case, the one with the most points at the end in front of them is the winner. Basically, when you play a card, you put it in front of you as kind of a tracking mechanism of which cards are played, and it also lets you keep total of how many cards have been played. Like, if you see 2 potted plants here, 1 here, and 1 here, chances are there's another potted plant floating around. So in this case, I'm going to say, Zed here has a net troll. So he reveals his hand to me. He doesn't have it. Oh, no, wait, he doesn't reveal his hand. You just basically ask whether or not he has it. He doesn't have to reveal the hand. And if that's the case, basically, it's an honesty game. You have to say yes or no. I mean, you could lie, but who doesn't? So if I said Dread Troll and he doesn't have a Dread Troll, Net Troll, sorry, not Dread Troll, Dread Gazebo Net Troll, he doesn't lose. But if he did have one, there it is. Let's say he did have one. He puts his discarded hand down. It doesn't activate. And he's out of the game. Now, so here's another one. I'm actually going to go through all of them. So we already saw Potted Plants rules. It's actually a pretty useful card, despite its low number. If you can figure out who has what, you basically can knock out people pretty fast. The next card is the Mall Rat. You get to look at another player's hand. Pretty useful if used in combo with Potted Plants. It gives you a turn ahead of time to see what their hand is, and if they manage to hang on to that card until the following round, you can call it out with the Potted Plant if you still have a Potted Plant, and, well, get the person out. The next card is the Duck of Doom, also useful with the Mole Rat. The Duck of Doom, you and another player secretly compare hands. The player with the lowest value is out of the round. Don't have this card in your hand. In the case of a tie, neither one is out, obviously. Very useful card, again, if you have, say, the Turbonium Dragon or the Loot in your hand, you pretty much will win no matter what. The fourth value one is the Wishing Ring. Until your next turn, ignore all effects from other players. Basically, you are granted immunity from any of the other effects. They can't ask you, they can't make you discard a hand, and all that. Usually a valuable card at endgame. The next highest is Net Troll. Choose any player, including yourself, to discard his or her hand and draw a new card. Useful if you have just a Potted Plant in your hand and just want to speed the game a little bit, you can make you discard your own hand. Also useful with the Mall Rat, because if, say, Frederick had the Loot and you make them discard their hand, they are out of the game. I'll show you that effect in a second. Another good value card is the Dread Gazebo. Trade hands with a player of your choice. So, say they have the Loot, you have this, and say the Potted Plant, and you had drawn the last card. Have them trade their hand, you get their hand, you win the game because you have the highest one. Turbonium Dragon. If you have this card and then you draw either the Net Troll or the Dread Gazebo in your hand, you must discard this card. This is the only card where the effect only takes place while it's in your hand, not on the table. Every other one, as soon as it hits the table, it affects. Unless, basically, you force them out of the round. Then the effect doesn't take place. Or if they discard their card because of Net Troll, with one exception. So basically, if you force them to say discard their Dread Gazebo with Net Troll, Dread does not take effect. There is only one card, if discarded, it takes effect no matter what. And that is the Loot card. If you did discard this card, you are out of the round. Basically, no matter what, if you discard this card, you are out of the round. So basically, Net Troll is one of the reasons, or say you discard your card just because you want to get out of the round. Basically, it's a pretty quick game. You can honestly play it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 4 players is obviously the best one, but again, you can do it up to 2 players. Well, 2 to 4 players. So basically, the start of the game is the first person to go first is the person who has encountered a random monster last. Yeah, it literally says that right here. Whoever most recently encountered a wandering monster in the wilderness goes first. In the event of a tie, the youngest player goes first. I would include lawyers in that one. Anyways, so that's the first round. Any sequential rounds after that, it is basically whoever won the last round goes first. And these 13 little stones here keep track of the... Well, they're not stones, they're wooden blocks, sorry. These little 13 chits here keep track of who has won. They actually do tell you the winning numbers. So for 4 players, 4 loot tokens. 3 players, 5 loot tokens. 2 players, 7 loot tokens. It makes sense because since there's 13, 3, 3, 3, and 1. I actually made that, see? And then, again, it's set up so that basically everybody will get some kind of even breakable by a tie. Overall, though, I actually just recently found it again in my possession. I had bought it months and months ago, and I forgot where I had tucked it, and I started going through my Munchkin boxes again, just because I was thinking about playing it, and found it. I actually played it with my friends, and it's actually relatively easy. I mean, even my 8-year-old daughter was able to understand the game and play it pretty well. Yeah. So it is a fun game. I highly recommend it if you get it. I believe I paid $13 for this, but it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it's kind of worth it. If you like the goofiness of Munchkin, but you don't want to play the entirety of the game, or it takes too long to play, I would recommend this one. It's still kind of weird and zany, and the pictures are amazing. I've always loved the Munchkin art, and these are pretty much direct copies of the actual game's artwork. So, in fact, I believe these are the same artwork. So, yeah. Again, it's called Munchkin Loot Letter. I love how, like, indifferent that guy is to the giant dragon behind him. Oh yeah, the chainsaw. I've always liked that one. But yeah. So, Munchkin Loot Letter. Again, up to 4 players, and I highly recommend it. I give this game a 9 out of 10. I wish it was maybe a little bit more cards, but again, what you have here is enough for a fun time. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.